Hi ho, it's off to work we go. Hi everyone. So the update on the van so far is that I've stripped it all out, and doing all my research online, I thought I had it sussed to put the back seats in. We're going to be adding a four-seater bench seat in the back for family and other members who join us on road trips. I thought it was going to be a simple process looking at some of the blogs, but I realized the big difference is that we have a cargo versus a crew van. Now the crew van has pre-mounted bolts underneath the chassis that you can just tap through the chassis, and then those bolts will appear, and then you can attach the seat brackets to the chassis. The cargo van does not have these attachments. Going away camping this weekend, so the time is of essence. I can hear my mum in the back of my mind saying, "Don't rush, Adam, just take your time. If it's not ready, then you can't take it." This is how my life has gone, down to the wire. Let's get this done. Okay, so basically I have been living at Home Depot today and yesterday, trying to get this project done so we can hit the road and go on our maiden voyage to Big Sur tomorrow. So I've worked out the tracking for the seats. I've now drilled the holes. I went through the support bracket underneath the chassis, so I've got a big drill bit. I had to go all the way through. At the front of the bracket is about 1/2 mil. So a 1/2 mil drill bit was able to get through it, but at the back it's not quite as wide, so I've had to go a different width on the other drill bit. I've got a 7/16 drill bit at the back, and the problem that I've had numerous times is I wasn't able to predict the length of the screw, not knowing how long that was. So I've made multiple trips to and fro, to and back from the Home Depot, getting the right length. I've now got a 4-inch screw. It's a grade 8 course. It's probably one of the strongest screw that you can get. I'm hoping that the thread on this will be just enough that I can get the bolts, because the other bolts that I had were too long, and so it's a little bit of playing around and getting the right length. Stay tuned. So here is the lovely bench seats that we've put in. You can see down on the floor these 3 tracks. All the Sprinter seats that I've seen, whether it's the 4-seater or the 3-seater, these 3 tracks here, 1, 2, and 3, they're all the same. So it doesn't matter what van you get, the pegs or the legs of the seats are going to sit in that same groove. On this version, as you can see here, there's no grooves. Well, there is a groove, but there's no attachment points, no pre-drilled holes. So that's something you've got to consider, and that will be something that you have to do yourself. I need to bring this whole chair forward about 7.5 inches, and I've just already marked that out down here. That'll be the new marking. I'm going to bring those bases, bring it forward, slot them in there, and that's going to go all the way along, and we'll see how we go. You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Rattle factor is something I never really thought about, but the more research I did, I realized that the bolts and the way I'm attaching the seat to the chassis of the van, it needed to be uber bomb-proof. And so what I've decided to do is I've gone with this kind of setup. I've basically got the highest grade bolt that I could get. I think this is a 12. I don't really know what that means, but it's gauge 12. I've got a spring washer on top that will sit on top of the chassis. Then the bolt will go through the actual floor of the van, and then underneath I've got again another 2 high density washers, again the highest grade that I could possibly get. Then I've got another spring washer underneath that, and then I'm going to have 2 nuts that'll screw on, and then I can screw that bottom one on as well. So basically I've got pressure on the bolt from the top, I've got another spring washer underneath, and then I've got 2 bolts that'll be able to jam it in, and then I can make those tight as well. I don't expect it to, but all the reading I've kind of come across, it's better to be safe than sorry. This is a pretty simple solution. It's guaranteed with that sort of mechanism, it's going to be really tight and no shaking or a rattling. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to put them in. So you can see here I've got the 2 bolts that I'll be using at the back on the middle. Clearly the one on the left, this one here, has a thread that goes all the way, which is ideal. And this one, when I put it through the chassis, the thread didn't go all the way up, and I wasn't able to get enough tension or tighten the bolts up. So I had to go for this option. The other bolts, I wasn't able to find any that had the thread that went all the way up. So I'm hopefully by the time it goes through the chassis, we'll have just a little bit of thread. I can get 2 nuts on there and make it nice and tight. I'm also using this spring washer on all the bolts, just having them on top and then threading that through the chassis. Here on the other side, this is the middle bracket. You can see that shorter screw, because it doesn't have this this support beam going through it. It's just basically the floor. So it's much smaller thread. I'm going to put a couple of washers on there, 2 nuts, tighten it up, and it'll be good to go. When I was a little kid, my favourite show was MacGyver. Check out this little MacGyver trick that I remember. Well, I don't remember, I just came up with it then, but it sounded good. So I'm trying to bolt these, tighten these nuts up by myself. Of course, I'll do it a lot tighter, but what I'm doing is I'm using a cable tie to thread this through. Excuse my hands. Tighten the cable tie. That's going to stay in place. I go underneath, tighten from beneath. Oh, what a good idea. What a champion. Single-handed screwing. Love it. AKA. That's my excited dance. I am pretty chuffed. I've been under the pump for the last 3 days because I want to get these seats in so we can take this van on its trip, and I think I've nailed it. I've got the 3 brackets of the cherry that the seat is going to slide into. I've put awesome secure anchors underneath the chassis. It's all clean. There's no obstructions. I didn't ruin anything. So here's the moment of truth. I'm going to grab the seat and lift it in. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it slides into place. Everything lines up. Ooh, please. Here we go. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a success. Woo! Pretty pumped. We can take this van on its first voyage.